Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you woke up in the morning and your vision was sharp the moment you opened your eyes? No fog, no blur, no squinting at the ceiling trying to figure out if that's a shadow or a stain. For a lot of people watching this right now, that kind of morning clarity is a distant memory. And maybe you've been told it's just aging. Maybe your doctor shrugged and said, well, you're not getting any younger. Maybe you've upgraded your glasses prescription twice in the past 3 years and still feel like you're looking at the world through a frosted window. Here's what I want you to understand before we go any further. Blurry vision is not always inevitable. It is not always permanent. And in many cases, it's not even about your glasses. There is a biological process happening inside your eyes right now, every single night while you sleep, that either repairs your vision or quietly damages it further. And what you eat in the hours before bed may have more influence over that process than almost anything else you're doing. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 specific fruits, backed by research, that scientists believe support your eye's natural overnight repair process. I'll tell you which ones to choose, exactly when to eat them, and the small details that actually determine whether you get the benefit or not. Stay with me. This is going to be one of the most practical conversations we've had on this channel. My name is Dr. David Aid, and this channel exists for one reason: to give you honest, evidence-informed health education that actually helps you live better. Now, before we get into the fruit list, I need to build a foundation with you, because without understanding what's actually happening inside your eyes, the list won't mean as much. Let's start here. Your retina. The retina is a thin layer of tissue lining the back of your eye. Think of it as the screen inside a camera. All the light that enters your eye, everything you see, trees, faces, the words on a page, it all lands on the retina first. And the retina is filled with specialized cells called photoreceptors. These cells capture incoming light and convert it into electrical signals that travel to your brain. That's how you see. Now here's the problem. After the age of 60, according to the American Optometric Association, the eyes become significantly more fragile. Oxidative stress accumulates. Blood flow to the retinal tissue gradually slows. Inflammation increases at a low, silent level that you can't feel but that causes real damage over time. And then there's glycation, one of the most underappreciated processes in the aging eye. Glycation happens when excess blood sugar binds to the proteins in your eye tissue, forming what scientists call advanced glycation end compounds. These compounds progressively cloud the lens and degrade the retina. It's happening quietly, continuously, in most people past the age of 60. Most people have never even heard the word. The National Eye Institute has warned that vision loss among Americans is rising faster than at any documented point in history. And the research is clear that age-related retinal damage frequently begins with these silent changes: oxidative stress, inflammation, reduced circulation, and glycation, long before a person notices that their vision is declining. Now here's the part that most people never hear. A significant portion of this damage and repair happens at night. While you sleep, your body enters what you might think of as maintenance mode. Your heart rate slows, your cells repair, and your eyes, if given the right conditions and the right nutritional support, engage in a process of regeneration. Photoreceptor cells can restore themselves. Damaged tissue can begin to heal. But here's the key. Your eyes need specific nutrients to run that process effectively, and most people are not providing them. That's where these 7 fruits come in. Let me also say this clearly because I believe in being straight with you. What I'm sharing today is educational. It is built on published research and emerging science, but it is not a replacement for professional eye care. If you are experiencing vision changes, please see a licensed eye care professional. These fruits are not a treatment. They are potential support for your eye's natural biological processes. With that said, let's get into it. Starting at number 7, and this one catches people off guard every single time: kiwi. Small, fuzzy, usually sitting in a bowl on someone's counter getting ignored in favor of the bananas beside it. But for aging eyes, kiwi is genuinely impressive, and the research supports that. Let me explain what it's doing. As we age, 2 nutrients become particularly critical for retinal health: lutein and zeaxanthin. You're going to hear those 2 names multiple times today, so hold on to them. Think of lutein and zeaxanthin as the eye's internal filter system. They sit within the layers of your retina, and they do 2 things. They absorb harmful blue light before it can damage photoreceptor cells, and they act as antioxidants, neutralizing the oxidative damage that accumulates throughout the day. Kiwi is one of the richer natural sources of both compounds, but that's not the only reason it earns a spot on this list. Kiwi also contains a unique combination of antioxidants, vitamin C, vitamin E, and a small amount of serotonin, which supports deeper, more restorative sleep. And that connection matters more than most people realize, because the depth of your sleep directly determines how effective your eye's repair process is. Shallow sleep means incomplete repair. Deeper sleep means more time in the biological window, where real regeneration can occur. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Healthy Aging found that older adults who consumed 2 golden kiwis daily experienced measurable improvements in visual sharpness alongside reduced morning eye dryness and redness. 2 pieces of fruit. Measurable outcomes. Now, there are a few things to get right here. First, choose golden kiwi over green when you can. Golden kiwi carries a higher lutein concentration, produces less acid in the stomach, and sits more comfortably late at night, which matters when you're trying to fall into deep sleep. Second, eat them about an hour before bed. Third, and this is the detail almost nobody knows, when you scoop the fruit out, don't scrape all the way to the skin. Leave that thin inner layer of flesh attached to the inside of the skin. That pale edge contains concentrated caffeic acid, a potent antioxidant. Most people throw that part away without realizing what they're discarding. Kiwi, simple, inexpensive, already in most kitchens. Let's move on. Number 6 is a fruit most of us associate with summer, and it's watermelon. Now, the hydration benefit is obvious. Watermelon is over 90% water, and hydration matters for eye health more than people appreciate. Dehydration directly impairs tear film quality, which is the protective moisture layer on the surface of your eyes. When that layer thins, you get dry, scratchy, irritated eyes. You get that frustrating blur that takes an hour to clear after waking up. But the research on watermelon goes deeper than hydration. Watermelon is one of the richest dietary sources of lycopene, a powerful carotenoid antioxidant that has been linked in observational studies to reduced oxidative damage in retinal cells and to potential protective effects against both cataracts and macular degeneration. There's also evidence that people who eat watermelon regularly tend to have higher circulating levels of lutein and zeaxanthin in their bloodstream, those same key vision nutrients we covered with kiwi. And certain compounds in watermelon appear to support nitric oxide production, which improves peripheral blood flow, including the flow of oxygen and nutrients to the tiny capillaries feeding your retina. Remember, this is happening during sleep. Better circulation during overnight rest means more nutritional support reaching retinal tissue during the exact window when repair is most active. How do you use it? 1 to 2 cups of chilled seedless watermelon, about 30 minutes before bed. And one critical warning here: skip the salt. I know some people love salted watermelon, but added sodium can raise intraocular pressure, and the Glaucoma Research Foundation has identified elevated intraocular pressure as a significant and potentially irreversible risk factor for vision loss. It's not worth it. There's also a practical tip most people skip entirely: the white rind. That pale section between the red flesh and the outer skin contains citrulline, an amino acid that supports healthy blood vessel function. You can blend it into a smoothie, juice it, or if you're feeling ambitious, lightly pickle it. However you use it, don't waste it. Number 5 is one that most people in the United States have genuinely never purchased. Black currants, tiny, deep purple, easy to walk past at the store. But when it comes to protecting your eyes, especially in low light, black currants are quietly among the most powerful things you can eat. Here's the specific problem they address: 2 interconnected issues that affect a large number of older adults: retinal microinflammation and reduced blood flow to the optic nerve. You may not feel either of those things, but they show up in your vision. They create halos around headlights when you're driving at night. They cause that increasing strain in dim rooms. They blunt your ability to shift between bright and dark environments, and they contribute to the kind of progressive visual field loss that erodes your independence over time. These are problems a stronger glasses prescription simply doesn't fix. What makes black currants so effective is their anthocyanin content. Anthocyanins are the pigments that give these berries their deep color. And inside the eye, they work on multiple levels simultaneously. They calm inflammation, They support blood vessel dilation. And critically, they help restore rhodopsin, the visual pigment that allows your eyes to adapt from bright conditions into darkness. The clinical research here is actually quite solid. A randomized, placebo-controlled trial involving glaucoma patients found that 50 milligrams of black currant anthocyanins daily over 24 months significantly improved blood flow to the optic nerve and retinal areas and meaningfully slowed the progression of visual field loss compared to the placebo group. That's not a minor finding. A separate pilot study in patients with normal tension glaucoma found that black currant anthocyanins increased retinal blood flow without affecting eye pressure and helped normalize a compound involved in blood vessel constriction. This suggests genuine neuroprotective potential, even in people who do not have a diagnosed eye condition. There is also growing evidence that black currant anthocyanins improve dark adaptation speed, the rate at which your eyes shift between bright and dim environments. For seniors who struggle with night driving or moving through spaces with different lighting levels, that is directly practical. How do you use them? Fresh black currants are genuinely difficult to find in most supermarkets. Look for a standardized black currant anthocyanin extract, approximately 50 milligrams per serving. Take it in the evening. For better absorption, pair it with a small amount of healthy fat, a few walnuts, or a slice of avocado. And if you can find them fresh or frozen, eat them alongside a vitamin C source, like a small piece of orange, to enhance nutrient uptake. The synergy between these compounds is real and documented. Number 4 is one you almost certainly already love: blueberries. But here's the part I need you to hear carefully, because most people eat blueberries in a way that cancels out a significant portion of their eye protective benefit. Let's talk about what blueberries are actually doing inside your eyes. Your photoreceptor cells, the ones responsible for sharp focus, fine detail, and adapting to changes in light, are under constant oxidative attack. Decades of UV exposure accumulate. Your natural antioxidant defenses thin with age, and gradually the damage begins to show. You start squinting at text. Dim rooms become more difficult. You find yourself asking why your vision is blurry even with fresh glasses. The key compound in blueberries is pterostilbene, which is chemically related to resveratrol, the compound in red wine that gets all the attention. But pterostilbene is significantly more bioavailable. Research suggests it can cross the blood-retinal barrier and act directly on DNA damage in light-sensitive cells. That distinction matters because most dietary antioxidants never actually reach the retinal tissue that needs them. A 2023 study published in Nutritional Neuroscience found that older adults who consumed wild blueberries daily for 12 weeks showed notable improvements in visual acuity and reported meaningfully less eye strain during low-light screen use. But here's the critical detail. Not all blueberries are equal. The large, shiny, cultivated varieties you typically find in the produce section have measurably lower antioxidant density. Wild blueberries, the small, dark ones usually available in the frozen section, carry nearly double the concentration of the active compounds, and frozen is just as effective as fresh. In some studies, actually more so, because the freezing process begins to break down the cell walls, releasing more of the beneficial compounds. Here's how to use them correctly. About a third of a cup of wild blueberries, 45 minutes before bed. 2 rules. First, do not combine them with dairy. The proteins in milk bind directly to anthocyanins and block their absorption in the gut. Completely. If you're eating your blueberries with yogurt or milk, you are working against yourself. Second, try lightly freezing and then thawing your blueberries before eating them. That process further breaks down the cell walls and dramatically increases the bioavailability of the antioxidants, meaning your retinas can actually access them during overnight repair. Small adjustment, significant difference. Number 3 surprises almost everyone: dragon fruit. Visually striking, bright pink on the outside, dramatically colorful inside. But the variety matters enormously, and this is where most people go wrong. You want the deep, red-fleshed variety. The white flesh varieties do not contain what we're looking for. Here's the specific problem red dragon fruit addresses: retinal hypoxia. That's the condition where your retinal tissue isn't receiving adequate oxygen during sleep, and it's more common than people realize. When retinal hypoxia is present, you can sleep a full 8 hours and still wake up with heavy, fatigued eyes. Your peripheral vision begins to soften. Colors that used to look vivid start looking slightly flat. And if that oxygen deficit continues over time without being addressed, the cumulative impact on retinal health can be significant. Red dragon fruit is rich in betalains, a class of antioxidants that research suggests can support nitric oxide production in the walls of blood vessels. And nitric oxide is the molecule responsible for relaxing and widening capillaries, including the tiny capillaries that deliver oxygen and nutrients directly to your retina. When those capillaries widen during sleep, more oxygen reaches the retinal tissue. More nutrients arrive during the repair window. The cells have more of what they need to do the work your eyes require. A 2022 study published in Frontiers in Aging Biology reported that participants consuming red dragon fruit extract over 6 weeks showed meaningful improvements in ocular circulation, contrast sensitivity, and visual field depth. In practical terms, better low-light clarity and a noticeable reduction in visual blurring. How do you use it? Half a red flesh dragon fruit, about an hour before sleep. And here's a tip that almost universally gets missed. The black seeds inside dragon fruit contain omega-3 fatty acids and magnesium, both of which play documented roles in retinal nerve health. But if you swallow them whole, you lose almost all of that benefit. The seed coat is too hard to be broken down during digestion unless you chew them, so chew them deliberately. It's a small habit change that meaningfully increases what your eyes actually receive. Number 2 has thousands of years of traditional use behind it, and now the clinical evidence is beginning to align. Goji berries. Bright red, mildly sweet, widely available dried in most health food stores and supermarkets. Used in traditional Chinese medicine for over 2 millennia, specifically for eye support. And modern research is beginning to understand why. Here's the specific problem goji berries target: macular thinning. The macula is the central zone of your retina. It's the part responsible for the sharp, detailed vision you use for reading, recognizing faces, seeing color clearly. And as we age, oxidative stress combined with reduced circulation gradually degrades this tissue. That's the foundational process behind age-related macular degeneration, which remains one of the leading causes of irreversible vision loss in adults over 60 worldwide. What makes goji berries exceptional is their zeaxanthin concentration. Goji berries are among the highest natural dietary sources of zeaxanthin on the planet. Now, lutein and zeaxanthin often get mentioned together, but they're not identical in what they protect. Lutein is distributed more broadly across the retina, while zeaxanthin concentrates specifically and heavily in the macula. That targeted protection is important. The clinical evidence here is compelling. A 2021 study published in Nutrients followed adults between the ages of 60 and 80 who consumed dried goji berries 5 days a week for 90 days. The results showed a significant increase in macular pigment optical density, which is a direct, measurable indicator of macular protection. And notably, no participant in the study showed further progression of macular degeneration during the trial period. For anyone concerned about maintaining visual independence into later life, that finding deserves serious consideration. How do you use them? 2 tablespoons of dried goji berries. Soak them in warm water for approximately 10 minutes before eating. Soaking softens them, improves digestibility, and increases the availability of the compounds inside. Eat them about 30 minutes before bed. And here is a pairing tip that is backed by actual science. Take your soaked goji berries alongside a small square of high-quality dark chocolate, at least 85% cacao. The flavonoids in cocoa have been shown to enhance the absorption of zeaxanthin. Together, these two foods create a synergistic effect. You're not just eating goji berries, you're giving your macula a more complete delivery of the protection it needs. A little bit of dark chocolate, and it's good for your eyes. You're welcome. And finally, number 1. The fruit that tops this entire list. Papaya. Not exotic. Not expensive. Not particularly glamorous. You may have one ripening on your kitchen counter right now. But when eaten correctly and at the right time, papaya targets one of the most destructive, most overlooked processes behind blurry vision and early cataract formation. Let me tell you about glycation. Glycation is the process by which excess blood sugar binds to proteins in your eye tissue, forming compounds called advanced glycation end products. These compounds do 2 things. They progressively cloud your lens, contributing to the formation of cataracts, and they degrade the retina, contributing to the kind of blurry, foggy vision that gradually worsens over years. Here's what makes glycation particularly dangerous. It's silent. There's no pain, no warning. It accumulates slowly, continuously, and most people don't realize it's been happening until their vision has already changed in ways they can't ignore. Papaya contains papain, a naturally occurring enzyme with documented anti-inflammatory and protein-modifying properties. Research suggests papain may interfere with the glycation process in ways that protect lens proteins and retinal tissue. On top of that, papaya delivers a remarkable combination of vitamins A, C, and E, alongside folate, nutrients that research consistently links to tear film stability, retinal protection, and reduced oxidative stress in the eye. A 2023 study published in Clinical Gerontology found that older adults who consumed papaya in the evening showed lower levels of glycation markers at follow-up testing, alongside stronger tear production and measurable improvements in contrast vision within 6 weeks. For seniors dealing with dry eyes, blurry morning vision, or early-stage cataracts, those outcomes are worth taking seriously. Here's how to use it. 1 cup of ripe papaya cubes about an hour before bed. 2 things matter here. First, room temperature over cold. Take your papaya out of the refrigerator at least 30 to 60 minutes before you eat it. Cold temperatures suppress enzyme activity, and you want papain at full functional strength when it reaches your digestive system, because that's when it does its work. Second, squeeze fresh lime juice over the papaya before eating. The vitamin C in lime meaningfully boosts your body's absorption of vitamin A. More gets delivered to your eyes. And honestly, the flavor combination is genuinely good. Do not pair papaya with dairy for the same reason we discussed with blueberries. Dairy proteins interfere with the absorption of key compounds. Let the papaya work on its own. Now, before we bring this all together, I need to share 5 rules with you, because without these, you could eat every single fruit on this list and still not receive the full benefit they're capable of delivering. Rule 1. Separate your fruit from high-calcium foods: dairy, calcium-fortified cereal, yogurt. If you consume any of these shortly before or alongside your evening fruit, you are actively blocking absorption of lutein and zeaxanthin in your gut. Research has shown that high-calcium meals consumed with antioxidant-rich fruits can reduce absorption of key eye nutrients by up to 30%. Give yourself at least 90 minutes between dairy and your evening fruit. Treat it as a standalone snack, not part of a larger meal. Rule 2. Always include a small amount of healthy fat. Lutein, zeaxanthin, lycopene, beta-carotene, all of the major vision protective compounds in these fruits are fat-soluble. That means your body cannot fully absorb them without fat present. A small handful of walnuts, a teaspoon of flaxseed oil, a few slices of avocado alongside your fruit can boost absorption by more than 50% according to published research. Same food, dramatically better delivery to the tissue that needs it. Rule 3. Wash gently. This one surprises people. Aggressive scrubbing under hard running water strips a significant portion of the surface antioxidants from blueberries, black currants, and goji berries, where the protective compounds are most concentrated in and near the skin. Rinse gently under cool water. Pat dry. And wash right before eating, not hours in advance, because exposure to air and moisture after washing accelerates oxidative degradation of the very compounds you're after. Rule 4. Room temperature over cold. Refrigeration suppresses the enzyme activity in papaya and in several other fruits on this list. Below a certain temperature, these enzymes lose their functional activity and become significantly less effective. Take your fruit out of the refrigerator 30 to 60 minutes before eating. Let it reach room temperature so you're consuming it when the biological activity is at its peak. Rule 5. Timing is everything. Eat your evening fruit 60 to 90 minutes before going to bed. Not right after dinner, not at midnight. Here's why. Too early, and the nutrients are metabolized and partially cleared from your system before your eyes enter their primary overnight repair window. Too late, and active digestion disrupts the depth of sleep your eyes need to complete their repair work. That 60 to 90-minute window is specific and meaningful. Hit it consistently, and you're giving these compounds the best possible chance to support the biological processes your eyes depend on. Let me bring everything together for you now. We talked about kiwi, particularly golden kiwi, rich in lutein, zeaxanthin, and sleep-supporting antioxidants. Watermelon, loaded with lycopene and citrulline, supporting hydration and retinal circulation. Black currants, exceptional for optic nerve blood flow, dark adaptation, and retinal inflammation. Blueberries, specifically wild blueberries, containing pterostilbene that can cross directly into retinal tissue. Dragon fruit, the red variety, supporting nitric oxide production and oxygen delivery to the retina during sleep. Goji berries, one of the highest natural sources of zeaxanthin, with documented evidence for macular pigment protection. And papaya, targeting glycation, supporting enzyme-driven repair of the lens and retina, and delivering a comprehensive antioxidant profile your eyes can use overnight. None of these are magic. None of them work overnight in isolation. But the research is building a consistent picture. The way you nourish your eyes in the hours before sleep has a measurable impact on how those eyes perform over time. And I want you to think about what that means in real terms. Imagine reading without squinting, driving at night with confidence, waking up and seeing clearly within minutes of opening your eyes, looking across the room at the people who matter most to you and being able to see every expression on their face. That's not a small thing. That's your independence, your confidence, your engagement with the world around you. Vision is not just a physical sense. It's the way you experience your life. And protecting it at any age is one of the most meaningful things you can do for yourself. I want to hear from you. If your vision became noticeably clearer tomorrow morning, what is the very first thing you would want to look at? Your family, your garden, a sunrise, something you've been straining to see for too long. Leave your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. If you found value in this video, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content. Subscribe to this channel if you want more evidence-informed, honest health education delivered in a way you can actually use. And share this with someone in your life who needs it. An older parent, a friend who keeps mentioning their vision is getting worse. You might make a real difference for them with a single tap. I'm Dr. David Aid. Take care of your eyes. They're the only pair you'll ever have.